Discover 10 amazing and touching facts about Earth that will transform your sleep forever. The words danced tantalizingly off the dim screen, illuminating the room with light and hope. Sarah, a single mother whose life had become a monotony of hospital corridors and pajama-clad chaos, found herself drawn to the display at the local library. The scant hours of sleep she had stolen from her hectic life hung heavy on her weary eyes, yet something about the title pulled her in, a fleeting promise that maybe, just maybe, she could reclaim some semblance of peace. As she settled into a chair at the back, her fingers trembled against her worn scrubs, still carrying the faint scent of antiseptic and coffee. 10 years of night shifts had molded her into a ghost of her former self, a relentless caregiver whose spirit wrestled under the weight of responsibility. The echoes of laughter from her 2 children felt distant, a haunting reminder that even when she was there, she was half awake, lost in a fog of fatigue. Driven by a deep concern for their well-being, she hesitated, a nagging guilt surfacing. Was it selfish to seek a moment for herself? Would they fall apart if she wasn't the perfect, ever-present mother? The presenter began revealing facts. A magnificent world full of breathtaking lakes, towering forests, and tranquil mountains flashed upon the screen. A world she had long overlooked amid her mundane existence. Her heart raced, a familiar sensation of longing creeping in. Each image was like a sharp intake of breath. A part of her wanted to dive into those landscapes, to recapture joy, yet the looming responsibilities twisted a knot in her stomach. Was it possible to honor herself while staying true to her family? The conflict began to gnaw at her resolve, exposing thin layers of doubt. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Her gaze returned to the presentation, but in that moment she felt the weight of her life pressing down harder. Images of sunsets warming the eerie twilight clashed violently with her memory of sleepless nights, burdened by anxiety and relentless duty. She began to question her path. Was the sacrifice of her mental health a form of love? Was she teaching her children that survival meant breaking oneself to meet expectations? Just then, the presenter spoke of how nature's beauty fosters emotional resilience, and it felt like a personal rebuke. What could be more beautiful than a mother showing her children the importance of care? Yet here she sat, wrestling with the thought of stepping away from the chaos, prioritizing her own sleep over late-night homework sessions or tender hugs before dawn. Her breath caught, heart constricting painfully at the thought that by considering her well-being, she was betraying the very essence of motherhood. With every shocking fact about the earth, every promise that echoed of rejuvenation, Sarah's internal anguish crescendoed. What would it mean to embrace rest, to confront the exhausting cycle of exhaustion? With tears pricking at the corners of her eyes, she clutched her phone tightly, the screen reflecting her struggle between fear and hope. The weight of her decision settled upon her like a heavy fog, teasing the edges of her resolve without offering clarity. Would she dare to redefine not just her life, but the legacy of love she wanted to instill in her children? The fog of uncertainty thickened, and she felt the world turning under her, teetering on an edge that felt both terrifying and exquisite. The presentation continued, but the words blended into a murmur, lost amidst the rising tide of Sarah's internal storm. How could she juggle the demanding needs of her family while pondering her own mental fitness? Each fact about the healing properties of nature flared in her mind like sparks against the backdrop of uncertainty. She could see it clearly. Nature held a promise of refuge, a sanctuary for the weary soul. Yet, as vivid as it appeared, the path to that sanctuary felt convoluted. As the speaker discussed the ways sunlight can enhance mood, Sarah felt a wave of resentment swell within her. A bright sunbeam filtering through her messy kitchen window had become muted by piles of laundry and unwashed dishes. Then she thought of her children, their cheeks red from outdoor play in the backyard, and the beauty of those moments dimmed by her fatigue. It struck her like lightning. She was their son, but she had long been in shadows cast by obligation and exhaustion. It was a moment of clarity that tore at her heart. She found herself wondering about the possibility of carving out time in her already extensive schedule for herself. Perhaps it wasn't just selfishness, but rather an essential act of love, a necessity to ensure that she could nurture both her children and herself. The idea unsettled her. How could she demand a seat at the table of her own life when the very fabric of motherhood seemed steeped in sacrifice? Wasn't it an unspoken rule that mothers must always prioritize their families to the detriment of self? As the presentation wrapped up, Sarah noticed the attendees beginning to stir, their eyes brimming with potential exhilaration about the new perspective shared with them. She felt an almost magnetic pull to join them, to share her thoughts, to invite dialogue. Yet the fear of judgment gripped her. What if they saw her as unworthy of that space? An imposter wearing the guise. Feeling an unexpected urge to speak, she hesitated. Weighing her options, she recalled a time not long ago when she had volunteered for a community health fair. Energized by connecting with others and sharing her passion for health advocacy, Sarah remembered how it felt to contribute beyond the narrow walls of her home. Those memories flickered like fragile flames in the distance, igniting dormant yearnings within her. In that moment, she made a decision. It wouldn't be a leap, but rather a careful step towards reclaiming her identity. It was time to reassess her boundaries and schedule. Perhaps a walk in the nearby park after lunch would yield some clarity. The nature her heart craved didn't have to be an extravagant vacation. It could start as simple as a stroll among the trees, breathing in fresh air. She rolled her shoulders back, feeling a brief thrill of anticipation as a plan formed in her mind. Her pulse quickened. This was not just about rediscovering herself, but about showing her children the importance of balance. She could become the model for self-care, demonstrating that personal well-being was not a luxury, but a necessity for loving and capable motherhood. As Sarah stood from her chair, a sense of empowerment surged through her veins. Yet, like a tidal wave retreating into the ocean, doubt threatened to pull her back. The echo of her commitments lingered, the obligations swirling in her mind. Would her children understand? Would her workplace accept this newfound commitment to herself? Intrigued, she took a deep breath, contemplating how to bridge her dual roles of nurturer and self-care advocate. The journey was just beginning, and with each step she sought clarity. What awaited her as she embraced this journey towards balance? Where could her brave decision lead her next? It was time to face that uncertainty head-on. The air outside was crisp as Sarah stepped into the park, the sunlight breaking through the leaves, casting a patchwork of light and shadow on the ground. Every step crunched softly over twigs and fallen leaves, and she took a deep breath, trying to inhale the earthy scent that surrounded her. This was her first solitary outing in ages, and while a sense of peace washed over her, an undercurrent of anxiety tugged at her thoughts. She sat on a weathered bench, letting her eyes drift toward the children playing in the nearby field, their laughter echoing through the trees. She smiled, but within her, a battle raged. Shouldn't she be with them, every moment counting? Yet as she gazed, a flicker of something else ignited, a realization. Moments spent nurturing herself were just as valuable. Bringing her focus back to her own needs somehow felt radical. What if she could balance those needs with her role as a mother? Her mind began to wander back to her work at the health fair. Sarah craved that connection again, a sense of purpose that stretched beyond laundry and dishes. She wanted to feel that spark of energy return. Wanting to capture this fleeting moment of inspiration, she pulled out her phone and typed a quick note. Engage. Find local health initiatives. Share experiences. Each word reverberated with potential. Could this be the first step toward reclaiming her purpose? As she savored these blossoming thoughts, she felt a sudden swell of vulnerability. What if her ambitions collided with her responsibilities at home? Deep down, she knew that her desire for personal growth could lead to friction with her children or her husband. It was a thought that stirred the familiar demons of guilt and doubt. But what if those fears were holding her back from becoming the mother she aspired to be? If she prioritized her own well-being, wouldn't she be more present and engaged with her family? The question hung in the air like an unspoken promise, waiting to be addressed. No longer a vague notion, it now loomed in her mind, begging for answers. Rising from the bench, Sarah began to walk again. She envisioned the intentions she could set. Perhaps a community yoga class could offer the respite she needed, or attending workshops that catered to her interests in health advocacy. Could these small commitments pave the way to a larger transformation? As she stepped off the path and into a small clearing, she caught her breath. Ahead of her was a tiny garden, flourishing with colorful blooms, each petal an assertion of life amidst the chaos of the outside world. Yet a new layer of discomfort flickered within her. Would cultivating this passion mean inadvertently neglecting her family? Was she grappling with a facade of independence while her responsibilities lingered? Determined not to let fear squelch her burgeoning interests, she pulled her phone from her pocket once more. This time she typed, "Schedule time for community events." The words felt like a commitment, a promise to herself and her family that she could balance both worlds. As she walked back toward home, the path felt brighter. Clarity surged, and for the first time in a while, she felt capable of broaching this conversation with her husband. Would he recognize her need for autonomy? And could they together navigate this journey of personal and familial growth? With the garden still vivid in her mind, Sarah's heart quickened at a new thought, a taste of freedom entwined with responsibility. The possibilities hung like ripe fruit, just within reach, but the darker question flickered at the corners of her mind. What if, amidst this blossoming potential, she faced opposition? The moment to confront her family's expectations was coming swiftly. Would they support her call to define herself beyond motherhood? Or would boundaries blur in the chaos? The swings and slides she passed seemed to echo that uncertainty. Sarah's determination steeled. This wasn't just about her. It was about the kind of mother and role model she wished to be. Wrestling with ready-made fears, she knew the time had come to initiate this pivotal discussion. What awaited her once she stepped into that territory of vulnerability and truth? As Sarah approached her home, her heart raced in rhythm with each step. She paused just outside the door, her mind flaring with the weight of her decision. Did she fully grasp the implications of what she was about to propose? The prospect of sharing her newfound aspirations with her husband sent a tremor of anxiety rippling through her stomach. Recognizing the need for a moment of preparation, she took a deep breath, centering herself. This wasn't merely about her desire for more. It was about reshaping their life together. What would it cost to pursue this journey? Would David understand, or would he regard her ambitions as a threat to their family's dynamic? Questions erupted in her mind, each more daunting than the last. Pushing the door open, she stepped into the warm embrace of home. The familiar chaos engulfed her, the sound of her children arguing over toys, the lingering smell of the dinner David had prepared. In this moment, the cozy familiarity clashed with her impending confrontation. "Hey, how was your walk?" David glanced up, a smile breaking across his face, and suddenly the anxiety felt heavier. This was the moment she had been steeling herself for. Could she still express her aspirations amidst this comfort? "It was nice, actually," she replied, attempting to match his enthusiasm. I've been thinking a lot about what I want, about becoming involved in health advocacy again." The moment the words left her lips, she felt a tightening in her chest. David's smile hadn't faded, but he raised an eyebrow, clearly caught off guard. "Health advocacy? Like at the fair last month?" "Yes, I miss it. I feel passionate when I'm around people who care about the same things. But I also want to ensure that I can still manage my responsibilities at home." There it was, raw and unfiltered, her need for balance laid out before him. He nodded slowly, his expression turning serious. "You know how hectic life gets with the kids. Are you sure you can manage both?" The words felt like ice shattering her resolve. Did he perceive her ambition as naivete? The thought sang like a chorus of doubt that threatened to drown her determination. "I really believe that finding this balance will make me a better mother," she pressed, desperation creeping into her tone. What if he dismissed her, or worse, rejected her dreams? A brief silence hung between them, charged yet fragile. "I want you to be happy," David finally said, his voice softening, "but I need to understand how this will work for us all." Relief and frustration warred within her as she processed his response. This was not an outright rejection, yet it was far from the unconditional support she craved. The uncertainty loomed large, enveloping her aspirations in shadows. What if I set aside a specific time each week for workshops or community activities? It wouldn't be during the kids' routine. I promise to plan around our family commitments. His brow furrowed, and she could almost see the gears turning in his mind as he contemplated the implications. She realized that it would take more than just her intentions. It would require a plan, a deliberate execution of her aspirations while sharing the load at home. "Let's come up with a schedule together," he suggested. "Maybe we can find a way to make it work." Hope bubbled within her, yet the foundation felt shaky. In that moment, Sarah recognized a powerful insight. Her journey towards self-fulfillment did not have to exist in isolation. The potential for negotiation, collaboration, and understanding unleashed a new wave of excitement. Would they succeed in this endeavor together? As they began deliberating and creating a potential plan, her thoughts wandered. What barriers might emerge once they began to execute these ideas? Would the demands of motherhood and partnership continue to intertwine? A frosty rush of excitement draped her shoulders. This was just the beginning. The conversation unfolded around them, filled with possibilities, but Sarah felt the familiar flutter of uncertainty still gripping her. What other challenges lay ahead in their journey to redefine their family's dynamics? The clock ticked onward, and with it came the echo of unresolved questions, waiting to be addressed. As the days unfolded, Sarah found herself in a delicate dance of aspirations and responsibilities. The initial excitement of discussing her plans with David enveloped her, but soon it intertwined with the real-world demands of family life. Every evening, post-dinner chaos left her with scant energy to think about her newfound direction. She had suggested scheduling time for advocacy workshops, but the reality of implementing that plan felt increasingly distant. The children's needs, so vibrant and immediate, often overshadowed her intentions. Each morning began with the familiar chaos of breakfast routines and school preparations, and each night she returned to a house echoing with laughter and occasional squabbles. After everyone was settled, the meticulous planning she envisioned crumbled into mere thoughts stuffed into the corners of her mind. Yet, amidst this whirlwind, a spark remained. While navigating the daily grind, she began to notice moments that hinted at hidden opportunities for personal growth. During the days spent volunteering for school events, Sarah noticed her energy transforming in ways she hadn't expected. Conversations with like-minded parents flipped a switch, fueling her inner fire. The challenge was finding ways to harness this momentum while being present for her family. One afternoon, while collecting art supplies for her son's school project, a flyer caught her attention. It announced a local workshop on effective communication in health advocacy. The words resonated with her. They were a lifeline, pulling her back towards her aspirations. She felt an electric thrill rise in her chest. This could be the stepping stone she needed. That evening, Sarah revisited the conversation with David. "I found a workshop that focuses on communication skills for health advocacy," she said, her voice infused with suppressed enthusiasm. "It's only a weekend commitment." David glanced up from his book, eyebrows raised inquiringly. "And when is it?" "It starts this Saturday." She held her breath, poised for his reaction. "Right when I was planning to take the kids to the park," he countered, the familiar lines of tension forming on his forehead. "Couldn't you handle that alone for a few hours? I'll only be gone for half a day," she pressed gently, desperation lacing her tone. This wasn't a fight, it was a plea for understanding. David sighed, contemplating. "Look, Sarah, I just want to make sure everything is balanced. The kids need you too. What if we find a compromise? I can take them that morning, but I'd need the afternoon to recharge." The negotiation unfolded, and as they discussed logistics, Sarah started feeling a shift. It wasn't a straightforward yes from David, yet the willingness to work together meant progress. Each tentative agreement became a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. As Sunday dawned, Sarah emerged from her whirlwind of eager anticipation mixed with nerves. Driving toward the workshop, she reflected on her evolving mindset. The tension in balancing her home and personal aspirations had begun teaching her valuable lessons. She recognized the importance of flexibility and compromise. Perhaps hers wasn't a journey of isolation, but a shared exploration, where her growth could elevate their entire family dynamic. The workshop exceeded her expectations. Surrounded by compassionate advocates, Sarah felt the weight of doubt beginning to lift. The environment buzzed with stories and strategies, stirring a sense of belonging within her. She discovered that her voice was more powerful than she had once believed. She had valuable experiences and insights to contribute. Yet as the workshop drew to a close and the buzz of possibilities filled the air, a question lingered. Would the nuances of her aspirations translate back home? Would the newfound skills she was ready to embrace blend smoothly into the fabric of her hectic life? Determined to find that answer, Sarah stepped back into her world, her heart pounding with a mixture of excitement and fear. The next chapter of her journey was unfolding, and she wondered what the full implications would be for her relationships, especially with David. With newfound conviction, she began strategizing how to share her experience with him, hoping for an even deeper collaboration. But as she drove home, the nagging question of whether this would all be enough gnawed at her consciousness. Would stepping into her purpose risk unearthing resentments in David? What lay ahead would demand a reckoning, the moment she would face the true cost of her ambitions. As Sarah pulled into the driveway, her mind spiraled with the lessons learned that day, a blend of exhilaration and trepidation coursing through her veins. The workshop had ignited something dormant within her, but now the familiar walls of her home felt almost suffocating. She took a deep breath before stepping out. Mentally preparing herself. Balancing her new aspirations with family life was proving to be a far more intricate challenge than she had first imagined. Inside, the vibrant chaos enveloped her like a warm blanket. There was laughter echoing from the living room as her children played, and the unmistakable sound of clattering pots in the kitchen. It was comforting, yet she felt torn. How could she express her newfound passion without it feeling like it overshadowed the joyful noise of family life? After a few moments, she slipped away to gather her thoughts. Sitting at the small kitchen table, she penned down everything she'd learned, attempting to crystallize each revelation. The impact of effective communication and advocacy had not only resonated with her, but had also outlined a path that felt increasingly vivid. Yet the fear of making a misstep kept creeping back. What if her efforts inadvertently alienated the very people she wanted to uplift? Just then, she heard the children's laughter crescendo into a cacophony of playful squabbles. Sarah's heart softened. As vital as her ambitions felt, her children's needs were paramount. She pushed her scattered thoughts aside and joined them in the living room, donning her mom persona. As she engaged in their game, she found pieces of herself blending into the laughter, realizing that there could be synergy in her two worlds. Later that evening, after the kids had been tucked into bed, Sarah sought David out in the living room, the weight of her thoughts growing heavier. He was engrossed in another episode of his favorite show, yet his brow furrowed as he sensed her tension. "You look like you have something on your mind," he said, turning toward her. "I do," she replied, taking a deep breath to steady herself. "I want to talk about the workshop and share more about what it meant to me." He paused the television, the distraction now cast aside. "Okay, I'm listening," he said, his expression shifting to one of curiosity. As she spoke, Sarah noticed a subtle yet hopeful change in David's demeanor. She passionately described the connections she had formed and the strategies she had learned. The more she spoke, the more the initial heaviness of her worries lifted. However, an uncharted territory hovered over them. She felt a lesson deepening within. The act of sharing her experience was a necessary step toward unifying their paths. After listening intently, David's brows knitted together in thought. "I can see it means a lot to you, and that makes me happy," he said, his voice softening. "But how do you envision integrating this into our life? Balancing everything?" Sarah's heart raced. His recognition of her passion was affirming, yet the lurking uncertainty remained. "I want to include you. I want us to talk about advocacy, about what we can do together. I feel like finding a way for us to manage this dynamic could enrich us both." David hesitated, visibly conflicted. "I appreciate you wanting that, but I don't want you to push too hard. I don't want you to lose sight of the family." That statement echoed in her mind, an earnest reminder of the tightrope she was walking. Sarah understood his concern. Sacrifice loomed around the edges. She needed to explore how to nurture her ambitions without diminishing their shared life. Yet this required facing uncomfortable truths, perhaps challenging unsaid assumptions. As they discussed the potential for collaboration, the tension shifted from fear to curiosity. Would they discuss their dreams openly? Would compromises fulfill both their needs? The delicate balance was starting to reveal the underlying threads of their relationship, threads that had faded in the daily grind. Settling back into the couch, Sarah's mind raced with ideas and strategies for mutual support. Yet lurking beneath the hope was the worry that this conversation could diverge into yet another cycle of misunderstanding. The thoughts collided in her mind as uncertainty gripped her. Would this newfound desire for growth disrupt the fragile equilibrium of their family life? As they continued to explore their different aspirations, a looming question loomed large in Sarah's thoughts. Would her pursuit of personal purpose mean navigating deeper waters, ones filled with honest negotiations and potential conflict? The real journey was just beginning, taking shape in the conversations yet to come. With that palpable tension in her chest, Sarah found herself teetering on the edge of something powerful yet uncertain. What new revelations awaited her? The morning light filtered in through the window, illuminating the kitchen where Sarah stood, a steaming mug of coffee cradled in her hands. The warmth radiated through her fingertips, but inside she felt a cold knot of anxiety. The conversation with David had been a turning point, yet it left her grappling with unresolved questions. After tucking her kids into bed, she couldn't shake the urge to dive deeper into her newfound passion for advocacy. Could she transform the energy from the workshop into something actionable, something that resonated within her family while still honoring her role as a mother and wife? Each sip of coffee mingled with determination. Today was the day she would begin charting that course. As she carefully crafted an outline of her ideas, the concerns that had lingered from last night's conversation crept back. She had to ensure that her drive didn't come at the expense of what David felt was most important: family. Every point she wrote was soaked in self-reflection. What steps could she take to involve him in this journey? How could she express her ambitions without subsuming their family's rhythm? The kids scampered into the kitchen, their boundless energy demanding her immediate attention. Sarah put away her fleeting thoughts and leaned into the chaos. As they rushed around the room, giggles and playful shoves ensued. She felt the tug of war within her amplify. Couldn't her advocacy seamlessly weave into these moments? "Mom, can we do a project together today?" her youngest called out, his eyes shining with excitement. A spark ignited. What if... create a poster about something important, like how we can help the environment? The suggestion intrigued them, and their chatter quickly escalated into enthusiastic debate about what to feature. In their innocent voices, Sarah recognized an echo of her own aspirations. As paper, markers, and glitter scattered across the table, shadows of self-doubt flickered in the back of her mind. What if her children interpreted her newfound passion in a way that felt burdensome or out of reach? Sarah focused intently on them, combating the uncertainty. She wanted them to feel empowered, to understand that making a difference could be as simple as sharing ideas and taking small actions. Hours slipped by as laughter filled the air, their collaborative project taking on a life of its own. With each stroke of their markers, Sarah felt her confidence swell, entwined with the joy of family. This wasn't just a creative activity, it felt like the foundation for something grander. But as she admired the poster taking shape, new questions sprang to life. How did she continue this momentum? How could she nurture their budding enthusiasm while also unveiling her own ambitions? Later that evening, while washing the dishes, the water sudsed anew with her thoughts. David entered the kitchen, leaning against the counter, a silent witness to her turmoil. "You're glowing," he said, a smile playing at the corners of his mouth. "Are you just saying that?" she replied, half teasing, half hoping. "No, really, you seem more at peace. Did the kids' project help?" His curiosity hovered like a gentle reminder of their earlier conversation. She nodded, feeling a swell of hope amidst the uncertainty. It did. I want to share this with them without it being too much, you know? I want us to explore these ideas together. This is as much their future as it is mine." He paused, his eyebrows arched in intrigue. "What do you mean?" She took a deep breath, contemplating how to articulate the fullness of her vision. "I think advocacy isn't just something I do alone. It can be a family affair. If we do it together, we can support one another while nurturing what everyone wants. But it means we have to be open." David's expression shifted, and she hoped he would understand. Each revelation paved a way forward, yet they still stood before a daunting precipice. Would he embrace this collaborative journey with her? That moment, uncertainty danced in the air, but so did possibility. The prospect of blending their identities and aspirations ignited a spark of determination within her. Sarah realized they were both on an evolving path, one that would require sensitivity and respect, but also courage to tread where few had ventured before. As she caught his gaze, a wave of resolve washed over her. They were in uncharted waters, filled with promise and unknowns. The real challenge lay ahead. How would they balance their ambitions while protecting the delicate fabric of their family life? With the evening drawing to a quiet close, Sarah sat with her thoughts, contemplating the balance between her advocacy and nurturing her family's needs. Change was on the horizon, but would they navigate the waves together? The journey ahead loomed with the weight of mixed emotions, and in that stillness, her heart raced with anticipation and fear. What conflicts would they face as they ventured into uncertain territories, and would they emerge stronger or divided? Morning brought an unexpected clarity as Sarah woke early, the remnants of her previous night's thoughts swirling in her mind like leaves caught in a whirlwind. She felt an urgent need to take tangible steps toward intertwining her advocacy with her family's daily lives. The kids were still sleeping, their serene faces a reminder of the future she wanted to protect, one where they could feel empowered and engaged with the world. Her first action was to draft a proposal for a family meeting. It seemed straightforward. She could outline ideas that would encourage their involvement in advocacy while still being mindful of David's concerns. As Sarah scribbled down topics, she became more enthused. Recycling, conservation, cooking together using local ingredients. Each point felt like a building block to a greater purpose. Yet a shadow of doubt flickered with every written sentence. Would this idea resonate with them or dissolve into another half-hearted suggestion? The kids soon shuffled into the kitchen, rubbing their eyes and stretching as they greeted the day. Sarah seized the moment, her proposal tucked neatly away, ready to be shared but sensitive to how much was too much. "Good morning. How about we have a family meeting later today? I have some fun ideas about how we can all work together to help our planet," she said, her tone light but filled with genuine enthusiasm. "Can we do art?" her daughter chimed, eyes sparkling with excitement. "Of course. We can make posters or even bake something healthy to share," Sarah offered, feeling her confidence bubble anew. As the day unfolded, Sarah busied herself with household chores while secretly crafting in her mind how to present her proposals while allowing room for discussion. She didn't want to smother their budding aspirations. She needed to invite their creativity into this venture. Over the years, she had polished her ability to adapt in the professional sphere, whether navigating challenges at work or negotiating outcomes in presentations. Now she would need to channel that skill into engaging her family in an equally constructive manner. Come evening, the family gathered around the dining table, Sarah's heart thrumming as she set the stage. "We're embarking on a new adventure," she said, looking at each of their faces. "I want us to think about how we can care for our Earth together, using art, fun projects, and our everyday decisions." David watched silently, his face unreadable. Sarah dared to glance at him, hoping to gauge if he felt a sense of involvement rather than apprehension. The room felt charged, an electric mixture of excitement and uncertainty. Her intention was pure, but would it feel overwhelming to them? "It's important to make it enjoyable," she added, a note of caution lacing her voice. "That way, it won't feel like a chore." A conversation ignited, and slowly, ideas poured out. Her son suggested a neighborhood cleanup. Her daughter chimed in with a plan for a garden. Sarah felt a swell of pride. Each word shared was a step forward, yet David remained reserved, his silence echoing louder than the children's laughter. Later, as they cleaned up, Sarah faced David, the tension brewing quietly. "What did you think of our meeting?" she queried, her heart pounding at the possibility of disagreement. He paused, searching for the right words. "It's great that the kids are excited, but I worry about overwhelming them. You know how these things can get complicated." His concern struck like a cold wave against her resolve. "I want them to feel empowered, to understand they can make a difference in anything they do. I'm trying to find that balance." But as she spoke, Sarah felt a flicker of doubt. Was her drive to involve them becoming something burdensome? Would she and her ambitions be too much for David to support? She had revitalized their family dynamic, yet now it felt precarious. "I just want us all on the same page," she insisted. "For them, for us." David looked thoughtfully at her, and Sarah could sense an internal struggle within him, caught between his protective instincts and her passionate drive. "Let's just take it one step at a time, okay?" he finally suggested, his voice a gentle balm amidst her anxiety. Their discussion lingered, their perspectives unaligned, yet bleeding into each other, creating an intricate web of aspirations and fears. Sarah drew in deep breaths, realizing that finding unity and purpose would require patience. She needed to trust that each step forward, small or large, could be enough. As the night deepened, Sarah lay awake, her mind churning with possibilities. Could they sustain this effort together? Would her plea for collaboration resonate beyond the confines of their home? Her heart raced with the anticipation of real change, but also with the fear of its potential upheaval. The time had come to confront not only the challenge ahead, but to delve deeper into her own motivations and limits as an advocate and mother. With renewed resolve, she prepared a plan for the next family gathering, daring to hope that their shared vision might bridge the gaps in understanding and open new pathways. The conversation loomed, charged with the promise of discovery, and she braced herself for the inevitable confrontations ahead. The morning sun spilled into the kitchen, illuminating the remnants of last night's heartfelt discussions. Sarah stood with coffee in hand, watching her children shuffle through their morning routine, their enthusiasm still lingering in the air. Yet tension rested in the corners of her mind. Ultimately, would her vision for family advocacy thrive or falter? With the kids engaged in their breakfast, Sarah seized the opportunity to revisit her plan. She sketched out a deliberate agenda for the family meeting, infusing it with her passion to inspire. She carefully noted each topic: art projects, eco-friendly living, and even a small family garden. This time, she would present with clarity and purpose, soliciting their ideas before imposing her own. Last night's tension with David replayed in her mind. Their priorities were misaligned, but perhaps she could navigate a compromise by inviting their input early on. After breakfast, excited chatter filled the room as she gathered everyone around. "So fam, I want us to brainstorm some ideas on how we can work together for the Earth. I definitely value your thoughts more than just my own." Her enthusiasm was palpable, tinged with an urgency to establish an open dialogue. Her son's voice rose above the others. "Can we have a pet project, like a clubhouse for all the things we find while cleaning up?" "Yes, I love that idea," she exclaimed. But a shadow flitted through her mind. Would David agree to this added commitment? Despite the warmth of her children's excitement, tension rippled just beneath the surface of her heart. "I think that's a bit much," David interjected, cutting through the optimism like a cold wind. His voice was steady, but the flicker of discontent in his eyes told her everything she needed to know. "Maybe focus on the projects we can manage." His words brushed against her skin like ice. Their contrasting visions loomed ominously. She was pushing for broader engagement. He sought to ensure they didn't bite off more than they could chew. After a strained silence, Sarah took a measured breath. "I understand, but encouraging them to think big can lead to real change," she said, infusing her determination into each word. "What if we started with smaller goals but left space for dreaming big?" David considered her proposal, his brow furrowing. Okay, fine, but let's plan it out reasonably. We all know the kids can get busy with their sports, school, and everything else. A flash of anger coursed through Sarah. It felt dismissive, like all her passion was being suffocated. And growth doesn't happen if we don't allow them to explore, David. If they only ever toe the line, how will they learn? His expression hardened. She was digging a trench, and he felt the pull toward combat. But beneath the surface levels of their conversation churned a deeper frustration. Did he inherently distrust her push for activism, or was he worried about their children's capacity to juggle new responsibilities? She had to find a way to communicate that she was not working against him. Instead, she envisioned a vibrant family that would lean into challenges. This was not just environmental advocacy, it was about teaching her children agency. Can we compromise? Sarah's voice came out softer, an olive branch. What if we just set one achievable goal this month? That way we can build from success, rather than feeling overwhelmed. It felt like a gamble, yet the earnestness in her eyes prompted David to relax just a fraction. Fine, one goal, he conceded, but the tension in the room was still palpable. They worked together that afternoon, laying the groundwork for their first project, a neighborhood cleanup combined with a family garden sowed from seeds they would save from their kitchen scraps. The dialogue flowed, even momentarily grounding her fears. But Sarah couldn't shake the lingering uncertainty about David's hesitance. Was he actually supportive, or was he merely allowing her to tread this path cautiously? As the day came to a close, Sarah considered how she may need to directly confront those deeper concerns in their partnership. Determination surged as she understood a new truth. To balance ambition with understanding required a painful yet necessary confrontation. Lying in bed that night, she resolved to create an open space for that difficult conversation. The fear of what's on the other side loomed, but her commitment to truly engaging her family outweighed her trepidation, pushing her toward a channeling power she hadn't fully embraced yet. With the mission clear, the call for dialogue pulsed in her veins. The next family gathering wasn't just a chance for discernment, it was a decisive step toward potentially reshaping the very foundation of their family's values and collaboration. Could unveiling her inner challenges forge a stronger unity, or would it cause fractures? Only the approaching interactions would reveal the truth. The sun peeked through the curtains, casting a gentle warmth across Sarah's face. As she stirred awake, the recognition of the conversation ahead loomed like a palpable weight, yet an unfamiliar rush of determination stirred deep within her. Today was not merely about presenting her advocacy plans. It was about forging a clear path through the layered complexities of her family's dynamics. Sarah rose, heart racing with urgency, and quickly brewed a fresh pot of coffee. She felt an electric buzz of excitement. She knew this dialogue could transform their relationship, bridging the gap between her aspirations and David's apprehensions. Fueled by their recent discoveries, she envisioned a collaborative future, and she needed to ensure that David grasped her intentions entirely. After breakfast, Sarah gathered her family in the living room. The air thrummed with possibilities. As she settled on the couch, her resolve solidifying with every breath. "I want to speak candidly about our journey in advocacy and collaboration," she began, locking eyes with David while addressing her children's eager faces. "This isn't just about my dreams, it's about our future." David's expression turned serious, yet his features softened with intrigue. Sarah's heart soared at the moment. The presence of his willingness indicated a readiness she'd long hoped for. "I want us to be a family that supports each other's passions, and I know for that to happen, we need to understand one another deeply." The children sat wide-eyed, their quiet anticipation hanging in the room. "I've been thinking that our involvement in environmental advocacy can also weave joy and creativity into our everyday life. It's important for me to know how to make that a shared adventure, but I need your thoughts, your dreams." As Sarah opened the floor for dialogue, her son burst forth with excitement. "Can we plant trees to help clean the air? That would be cool." His enthusiasm fed Sarah's belief that they could nurture these seeds of ambition together. "That's a wonderful idea," she exclaimed, feeling the warmth of connection. "But it's also essential to discuss how we can make everything manageable. David, I know you worry about overwhelming the kids, and I respect that, but what if we find ways together to track and balance our commitments?" David's brow furrowed, but her sincerity prompted a flicker of curiosity. "I don't want the kids to feel pressured," he replied thoughtfully. "It's not about dismissing the ideas, but ensuring they can adopt them without stress. What if we set up monthly family meetings to review our commitments? We can celebrate our progress and reassess our goals together," Sarah proposed, watching David's reaction intently. After a moment, he nodded cautiously. "That makes sense. I can support the vision if we structure it carefully. Kids, do you feel all right with that?" They chimed in agreement, a revelation of empowerment swirling in the air. Here was the vital shift Sarah had envisioned, an interactive coalition, a symbiotic endeavor toward mutual understanding, rather than potential conflict. As their discussion flowed, Sarah's sense of purpose grew. The unwavering support from their children invigorated her spirit, but she sensed the quiet apprehension in David, a tethering caution that could potentially undermine the joyous exploration they had embarked upon. "David," she said softly, meeting his gaze with sincerity, "how do you feel about this shift in our household? Can you trust that my intentions are rooted in love for our family?" He hesitated, absorbing her question like a solemn pause in an orchestra. "I trust you," he finally replied, his tone resolute but tinged with tenderness. "I just want to make sure we don't lose ourselves while trying to change the world." His admission hung heavily between them, yet it became an entry point for deeper connection. What if facing these changes also allows us to redefine who we are? It's not just about challenges, it's about learning together and growing stronger. There was silence, but as Sarah took a moment to acknowledge the weight of their shared vulnerability, she felt a subtle shift in the room's energy. Hope crackled in the air, and they collectively caught a glimpse of a future not in struggle, but in fusion. As they concluded, a sense of accomplishment washed over Sarah, a realization she had not simply forged ahead with her plans. She had initiated a profound transformation not just for herself, but for her family as a cohesive unit. They were building something far more impactful than mere activism. They were cultivating a legacy of collaboration and open communication. Moving in the evening, Sarah caught a reflection of herself in the living room mirror. There stood not just a mother stepping into her purpose, but a courageous advocate willing to embrace both aspirations and familial bonds. Each moment had unfolded into a stepping stone toward balance, the kind of journey that would build bridges between them, creating pathways infused with empathy and shared growth. Though challenges lay ahead, Sarah felt a surging confidence flow within her. Their resolve to achieve harmony allowed her to breathe freely, knowing they had dismantled old barriers. She glanced over to David and their kids, laughing together as they discussed ideas for their first community garden, and a palpable warmth surged in her heart. This routine had evolved, infused with significance. She had dared to dream beyond the constraints she had perceived, and fully understood that this was the beginning, a powerful, unfurling journey toward a united pursuit in advocacy and love. As she embraced her family tighter, she knew they would navigate whatever storms lay on the horizon together, bound not just by commitments, but by a shared vision rooted in understanding and steadfast support. Now was their moment, not just to redefine their existence, but to allow the pulse of life to resonate freely, forging a trail through uncharted territories filled with hope, aspiration, and the unwavering embrace of family. This was their time, and it was just the beginning. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive emotional stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and theories about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even one more second to share. Only true fans of personal overcoming stories understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.